What's going on, YouTubeites? Welcome to Lords of the Long Box presents the CovrPrice comic book shakers of the week. Sorry we're running a little bit late, but Jack had a little something that he had to do, and he went from one place to another. But you know what? Hey, it's all good, man. Shout out to everybody in the live chat who's been waiting. This is a great list. You may not be 0 for 10. I think maybe you'll be 1, possibly 2 for 10.
Yeah,
I will put that out there.
I think solid.
I think if you're hitting 20% on this list, you're doing damn good.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah. Because, I think, Matt DeVoe was like, you know what? The cover price top 10 yesterday, people were hitting like 5, 6 out of 10. He's like, let me make it a little bit more difficult for you guys.
I'm convinced that rubs Matt DeVoe the wrong way. When he starts seeing those like 5 and 6 out of 10s, he's like, oh no, we got to ramp this thing up a bit.
All right. So let's get the show started right away, right now. Just kidding.
No.
You know what we got to do. We got to do it. And I haven't played this in a while. And you know what I need? I need a doobie.
Ooh.
I'll start. 1, 2, ready.
Where would you be now? Where pistons keep on turning and the wheels go round and round and the steel rails are cold and hard and the miles that they go down without love. Where would you be right now? Where would you be now?
That's my favorite one, man. That is my favorite
I
intro. That is fire, bro. Damn, that's good.
Gotta have some classic rock with a little mix of
Yeah, that's
DJ
good.
stuff in it. You know what I mean?
Classic rock and hip hop.
Yeah, it felt
Yeah.
like
Can't
a
go
little
wrong.
bit of what I grew up with, a little bit of what my dad grew up with, kind of combined.
This chat's on fire too, man. Welcome to the show, everybody. Man, this is gonna be a good
welcome
one.
to the show, everybody. JB, why don't you give your spiel about thumbs up? Because
Yeah, here, since we were doing it earlier on, if you're joining us live or if you're watching us on the replay and you haven't already, come on, man, give us that thumbs up if you're enjoying the content, and you know you are, because that was a fire ass intro. Also, if you're not subbed to the channel, why the hell not, man? Sub up, hit the notification bell. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're going live, giving you top 10 on Tuesdays, and we're giving you this fantastic list tonight. Every Thursday, the Shakers list, we're going to give it to you right now.
Every time you do a thumbs up, an angel gets his wings.
Oh, that's
Okay.
so sweet.
Remember
Ryan.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cheers,
we're almost
everybody.
close to 7,000 folks. We like them. We want to give away some free stuff, man. May cover some cover price subscriptions, KRS Comics, and stuff from our own personal collection. We just want to give back to you guys for supporting us through all this. So once again, this show is sponsored by our friends over at CovrPrice.com. Make sure you go to CovrPrice.com. Sign up for a 2-week free trial or $6.99 a month, which is the cost of a double quarter partner with cheese for your price guides, collections, and trends. They also have great articles, but what are you doing? Go sign up for it. The show is also sponsored by our great friends over at KRScomics.com. Go to KRScomics.com, use the discount code of LOTLB to get 15% off anything in the KRS Comics exclusive store, as well as the KRS pull box for those who are weekly pulls, 15% off new comics. Who doesn't like new comics, right? For this, I don't remember the last time this happened, but there are no new comics exclusives for KRS Comics this week. Crazy, right?
That is surprising. But hey, everybody's got to take a break sometimes.
They are doing a new mystery box though.
Oh.
So and there's 2 of them. It's 2 boxes, $100 for a COA box. You get 2 signed COA comics and 2 unsigned comics. For $150, you get the one CDC 9.8 and 2 unsigned comics. So if there's only 4 or 3 in there, they're going to be bangers. So just watch out. Remember we were talking about the sneaker variant. They just got them today, so they're going to be
Sweet.
shipping
Those are
real
cool, man.
soon, man.
Can't wait for that one.
Oh my God, that is going to be absolutely dope, man. I love we were just talking offline about the sneakers at the Nationals, right? That Jack was at, and it's crazy. It's the cross pollination of all kind of collectors,
Yeah.
sneakerheads, video games,
It's cool, man. I
trading
love it.
cards, comics. It's awesome, man. Funkos, we
A
rarely ever talk
smorgasbord.
about Funkos on here, but it's chic to be geek, as
Isn't
I like
it?
to say.
And
It's chic.
it was awesome to see all of them represented at the National Sports Card Convention. That you saw some Funkos and you saw some comics, and you saw all of these different areas of influence kind of bleeding into the sports card world. I bought some DC Comics trading cards, sealed boxes, and things like that. So
How often is it? Is it a national? Is it a annual show or?
Annual show? It's basically the National is their San Diego Comic-Con, except it just moves location every year.
Oh,
So
okay.
instead of being
Did you go last time?
No, this was my first time ever going.
Okay.
It's something I've wanted to do since I was a kid. And I'll tell you this, after going, I've already decided that's a yearly thing for me now. I will go. I will never miss one again. It's in Atlantic City this upcoming year. So I think it's absolutely, and what I really got from it as a comics guy is I love learning and seeing how other collectibles areas do it. So it was great to see how the card guys approach conventions and approach promotions and things that they do. I've taken a lot of those ideas and I can't wait to implement them.
How are the booths displayed? Like, how would a card shop, do they have a back wall of cards? I mean, they're smaller,
Display
right?
cases,
Obviously,
probably glass
in
display
comics.
cases.
So I will say that is the one area that I think we dominate sports cards. Is a comic convention is a better merchandise, better looking presentation.
Yeah.
Sports cards are very on the table. Everything's low.
Okay.
And so in kind of working with some of the companies I work with who were represented at the National, I just had to let them know this is great. But when you come to New York City or San Diego Comic-Con,
You're going to be looking up there, not down here.
right? We got to build up. We got to
You gotta
build up.
represent,
We can't
yeah.
be flat. Yeah.
Timo asks, any comics at National? I mean, how many booths or how many comics did you see?
So I there was not a lot of like strictly comic booths, but there was comics spread throughout the National. I will say there was one iconic comic book seller. For those who have been all over the convention scene, you may know Mike Caponaro. He's been featured on.
Like Carbonaro?
Yeah, he's
With
been
the funny hat?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes.
There's a convention. He's there.
I know him, yeah.
He was set up selling at the National. He had everything from OG Action Comics issues to Hank Aaron rookies and everything in between. So he was out there. I won't give it away, but I picked up a book on this list from a bin
What?
at the National.
What?
Yeah, buddy.
Right.
List. So I didn't have a lot of comic pickups, but I did find a whole table full of unbagged and boarded comics just stacked on the table, and they were just one price. And as a comic person, I was so excited. I did find a couple books that we would never
Jack,
find.
you're giving away your secrets now because the next National, everybody, all the comic heads are going to be there looking for deals.
Right,
so.
right. Try to find those secret comic deals. For sure.
All right, so you guys came for the cover price. Let's Shakers list. Let's do this, man. But we just like to allow you guys to congregate. Now there's 113 of you in there, so
Welcome,
talk
yeah.
amongst
Hell
yourselves.
yeah.
So this is the cover price comic book Shakers of the week. This list comes from our friends at CovrPrice, focusing on new sales or the most interesting sales found on their exclusive daily Shakers list. This list changes several times a day, so make sure you check it out every day to review some of the hottest trending books in the market. And as usual, after we talk about the 10, we will go on to the CovrPrice website and see what's shaking today. But before we do that, let's see what's on the first book on the list. And I will say, I have never seen this book. I do believe this book is a ghost, and it's got a very, very interesting story. What do we have for our first shaker?
So I love this book. This is another one of these awesome Spider-Man variants that I just wasn't familiar that it existed at all. And we're looking at the Amazing Spider-Man number 20, Uniqlo, Jason Poland Marvel variant from April 24th, 2019. And Jason Poland is considered one of New York's quirkiest and most prolific artists. The quick drawing artist's goal is to draw every person in New York. While ambitious, he has drawn hundreds of New Yorkers every day, and his work was featured in the New Yorker, the New York Times, and multiple art, as well as New York Times and multiple art galleries. Uniqlo, a Japanese casual wear designer and manufacturer and retailer located in major cities in the United States, formed a unique partnership with Poland and Marvel. Poland created original Marvel art featuring the Marvel logo and his version of Spider-Man swinging through New York. On the Uniqlo site, with the purchase of 2 Marvel Jason Poland graphic T-shirts, you could also order one of these exclusive comics. This was Poland's only comic work, as he passed away from cancer less than a year later. In many ways, the comic is a work of art on its own and truly a unique collectible. It's unknown how many of these there are and where these copies ended up, but they are exceptionally rare. This week, the only copy we've ever seen come up for sale was a raw copy that sold for a massive $1,136.
Wow.
Damn.
This is another example. We talked about this a couple weeks ago when I was on, and we were talking about one of those variants that was kind of had like an international flair to it. And we look at a lot of books where the pricing is silly. This is something that I feel like I can justify because of the fact that with all the books in the world that we always see, this is just one I wasn't familiar with, and a very unique collaboration with a brand that has a massive following.
Yeah.
So you had to buy 2 T-shirts just to be eligible to buy the book.
And being a designer brand, that was probably expensive. It probably ran you.
Yeah, like
over
I bet you 2
$100.
T-shirts were a couple $100 or something crazy to get the book. Now imagine, guys, somewhere there is a box of these that somebody bought to give out, and then they never got distributed. So where are they?
Well, I mean, this is one of those things where, the art world is famous for this, right? When an artist dies, I mean, like, you know, a painter, those type of artists, when they die, their works get, you know, they go up in price because they can no longer do those works. So people are like, you know what, I need to buy this, and the auctions go crazy. And this, you know, shout out to Matt DeVoe for even
Great job,
knowing
Matt.
the story on this, but that's incredible, man.
That's why CovrPrice is such an essential resource, is to be able
Yeah.
to find out not just what's moving, but the context behind it, which
Yeah.
is so important.
Anybody can show a comic and tell you the prices and hey, the value jumped, this, that, and the other, but it's the backstory that you know, is
the
really
history.
interesting. Yeah,
And
the
then
history.
that's what really rounds it out. And then just to tie it back to what we were talking about at the National, I think that's this is a unique market that I think all of us comic buyers should pay attention to. We've seen it with the Topps 70 cards, the art cards that baseball cards have put out. Artists from outside of the collectible medium are finding great success in both comics and sports cards. So that is something I would pay attention to. If you see a comic variant coming out with an artist who has a following, but maybe is outside of the traditional comic world, I know we covered weeks ago a Chicago street artist who's famous for like a mural. I actually saw that mural in Chicago when I was there. I think that those kind of artists are starting to get their due in the market. I think it's a trend that we're going to continue to see.
Yeah, that's dope. Love it. Love it. Love it. I love it that, you know, famous artists or whomever are coming into our hobby and showing it. You know, it'd be, you know, famous graffiti artists or something like that doing covers. That would be so hype, you know, that, you know, it's there. I mean, comic books are an art medium. You know,
They are,
it's,
100%.
you know, I mean,
Look,
you know, so
most people buy the cover. They're not buying the story.
Yep.
They're buying the cover. They're buying the art, and then break it off into buying OA. I mean, it's definitely an art form.
Yeah. That's a rabbit hole that you need to be careful to go down to. All right, so first one on the list, Amazing Spider-Man number 20, the Uniqlo Jason Poland, I guess variant. April.
Makes-
Yeah.
Here's a
It says
big
variant edition on the cover there.
Yeah, it came out in
Yeah,
2019 for $1,100 and $1,136 for a raw copy. Good Lord have mercy. All right, next up on the book, it's kind of interesting when my two worlds collide together. What do we have next on the list?
This is what it's like when worlds collide. So yeah, this is Black Panther number 50 back in 2002, and this book has been heating up for a while, hitting as high as $69 for a raw copy back in April of this year. And this was specifically due to Geekosities and the Lords of the Longbox own Mikey Sutton mentioning back in 2020 in November that Black Panther 2's villain was going to be the White Tiger. However, the version that Marvel was looking to use was the Kevin Casper Cole version, who first appeared in this issue under the moniker of Black Panther. He becomes the White Tiger on the last page of issue number 62 with the full appearance in the Crew number 2. Even though this news is still unconfirmed, high sales have continued for this book with a new high sale this week of $400 for a CGC 9.8.
Yeah. So, I mean, Mike and I talked about this on our Letters of the Long Box show, and then I bought it and I posted it on an Instagram, and I was like, you know, I posted it right when I bought it. And it's interesting. So we'll see where it goes. I mean, you know, first of all, it's not an easy issue to find. There's not, you know, there's not many out there. So, I mean, think about a Black Panther black and white prologue from 2002. I mean, the print run couldn't have been that high for this book. So, if it comes to fruition, you know, it's like we say, things are subject to change. So we shall see, man. But if it does come to fruition, this could be a nice banger that, you know, comes out. Plus, it's a dope cover, very noirish.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, very cool noirish. If I can say that. All right, so Black Panther issue number 50 from 2002 hit a cool $400 for a CGC 9.8, sold on August 7th. All right, so this next book will
It's not a book.
This next comic will be controversial because we ourselves have talked about this book before, but it looks like it's reared its head again. But you know what? We don't. Hey, we just. Just the facts, man. We just give you the sales data.
You know,
So
when you
what-
can't afford the first appearance, you gotta grab what you can, I guess.
Yeah,
is
so,
what the story is here.
Yeah, what do we got for number 3?
Oh man, are you guys ready for this one? Here we go. Next up, we've got Marvel Previews, issue number 95, originally published in 2011. It says from Marvel. Okay, here we go. Miles Morales continues to be a super hot property. Ultimate Fallout 4 is still going for a pretty penny, and all are eagerly awaiting the second installment of Into the Spider-Verse, expected sometime around October of 2022. Now, perhaps one of the biggest examples of Miles Morales' hotness is that the Marvel Previews book bearing his costume picture on the cover is going for insane amounts of money. Now, generally, the comic community shies away from previews because they're merely advertisements, solicitations for upcoming comics. They don't have a common story, elements, and character building that the community attributes to cameos and first appearances. There are myriads of previews with first images of characters in them that are essentially worthless. Who knows if there are just some diehard fans out there who will pay anything for this initial look at Miles Morales in costume, or if there is some other form of hype driving it to new highs. But whatever it is, there's a lot of money going towards this effort. A CGC 9.8 copy of Marvel Previews 95 just sold for an all-time high of $11,600. Now, hold on.
Here.
After 49 bid auction by 21 distinct eBay accounts.
Gee whiz.
The interesting thing about it is that the eBay auction was designated private, so you can't even see the partially obstructed bidders' IDs. So here's your coffee talk topic. Don't get verklempt. Is Marvel Previews legit or a wholly pumped up property? Gentlemen, what's your opinion?
So, when the summer of Miles last summer, when all the books were getting hot, and this book was, blowing up, and and I'm glad Matt added that to his thing about they were 21 distinct buyers.
So there's interest. There's interest.
No, because what happened on the initial, when these were being sold last summer, it was one person that was buying them at really high prices. And that would really kind of raise eyebrows in the comic collector community. So I'm not saying that, it's this, that, or the other, but,
was it a theory that it's a group of people who know each other who were just bidding it amongst themselves?
Is that the theory?
To drive up the
I
price?
think the theory was just that one whale of a buyer believed in it and was actively buying copies. And that was then giving the perception of the entire market that this was a book on the rise. Now, having said that, clearly, as Thibaut pointed out, and as Matt DeVoe pointed out, with 21 unique buyers, there's certainly a market now. And I generally don't like to criticize the market. Buy what you like, spend what you're willing to spend. Having said that, the price of this is all wonky to me.
Right.
I value like preview appearances. I think there is value there. I think they're unique add-on collectibles to the first appearance. But like the comment that Ryan made when we were at like the beginning of this was that like if you can't afford the first appearance, I totally understand that, right? If you couldn't afford $3,000 for the Miles Morales 9.8 first appearance, then if you were buying a preview book for $100 or $200, I totally get that.
Yeah, but for 11,000,
Right?
Right, it's insane. It makes no sense. And it's important to note, like, pay attention to this. This isn't even previewing. Like, this is previewing. The cover is Ultimate Comics Spider-Man #1. It's not even Ultimate.
It's not even.
4. It's just because it's in where's the line? Like, because it's in a magazine format that is in like the shape of a comics. If it was a poster, would that count? If it was a trading card, would that count? If it was an insert like card similar to like those cards that you get in your diamond shipments.
Well, okay, let's take it a step further. There are advertisements for Action Comics #1 in another book. There's preview or advertisements for Action Detective Comics 27 in another book. So are we saying we can buy those books and it'll be worth more than the original?
Actually, those books are expensive, but they're also golden age. We're talking about golden age appearances of,
I guess my
Superman.
point is
I think
it's
those
a
books were-
preview
Right, and
essentially.
those books will always have value, and I could even understand an argument if somebody was like, "Hey, I think like Daredevil 115, which previews Hulk 181, or advertises."
That's
Hulk
it right
181.
here. I was
You know-
just put that up.
If somebody was like, "Hey, I think that book's undervalued," I could understand that, right? I could understand somebody saying, "Hey, it only goes for this, and I think it should go for more based on
I
the price."
agree.
But this is wonky because this is going for more than 3 times the price of the first appearance, and it's going for that based on scarcity alone. And the important thing to remember about scarcity is scarcity can sometimes be perceived scarcity, not real scarcity. The reality is these books were printed in caseloads. And yes, there's an assumption that a lot of these got thrown away and destroyed, but we don't truly know that. And I would be careful. I mean, certainly you can buy what you want, but if you spend $11,000 on this, and then tomorrow a case of fresh copies is unearthed, what
I
is
think
gonna do?
I think that was one of the things, or not a conspiracy, but that's what people thought. That, and I actually spoke to some people that said, you know, there is somebody is sitting on a case of these, and you know, and that's why their opinion was they're driving the prices up on these so they get up here. But so, you know, comic book collectors are kind of like lemmings, you know. I mean, no offense to anybody in the live chat, but you see something going up and up and up in value, well, it must be worth it, right? So,
Right.
I mean, you know, and you have people bidding on it, you know. I mean, this is in whale territory, you know, $11,000 for this, you know what I mean? So, it'd be interesting.
Baltimore Comic Con a couple of years ago, I had a conversation, was right when it popped off. I had a conversation with a previews employee who at the time was trying to figure out why this issue had gotten hot. And they told us that there had been a couple cases that had been ordered from previews because they had them left in stock.
Oh,
That's what alerted them. So factually, I know a couple cases got out there. I don't know who got them, what. We certainly haven't seen them come to light.
and the plot thickens.
Well, why would you until it goes to 20 grand? Then
dude? It's
No, no,
high
no.
enough.
They're
I think
sitting on them until
no, you know what?
the
They're
live
stuck
action
in CGC getting freaking graded.
No, they are sitting on them to wait for the Miles Morales live action film. That's what they're doing.
And
And
just
that
flood the
really-
market.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, for I would say 99% of us in the live chat, this is not a book that we're
It's
going to
not a
buy
book.
for
Never.
11,000.
I would never
you know?
buy this.
I would
Ultimate
buy-
Previews 1 or 4
No.
all day long.
And
Yeah.
it's
Or
this isn't even
It's not
Spawn.
even a freaking preview of Ultimate Fallout 4. It's just
And-
it's stupid.
And this is not even a case of Spawn where like in those Spawn previews, those were coming in like trade magazines that were a lot smaller printed.
I mean, the Malibu Sun thing, right?
Right. Yeah. Those, I mean, that you got to understand back then there wasn't like one preview magazine to get all your comics. There was a bunch of small ones. And those were 100% thrown away versus now where we have a collector mentality where we keep everything. And this will never happen again because people are going to keep all of the previews.
Did they
now
have
that
previews
people-
or anything in Wizard World or in Wizard Magazine?
They
yeah,
had
oh, yeah.
So,
so
let's
that's
go
why-
get all those now. Let's go get all
Get 'em
those.
all.
Foom is another one where
Mhm.
there's it's litany of previews, and we've seen other previews issues spike, but we haven't seen the wonky price. So like for instance, there's a previews order form. This is even more
Oh
ridiculous.
my god. Come
It's
on.
the actual physical paper order form that has a Something's Killing the Children cover. That sells now for over $100.
Wow.
But at least I can justify that in that it's selling for like $150, but the first print sells for over $1,000. So at least it's an add-on collectible. This seems ridiculous because I could own more than 3 first print 9/8 for the price of one previews order book for a 9/8. That's just
Or you can
nuts.
get like 2 grails, you know, you can probably get a Hulk
Right.
181 right around, you know, in a whatever 7,
Oh man,
8.0.
yeah, you can walk away with a giant size X-Men. What do you want?
Yeah.
You can
Yeah,
have
dude, you
whatever
can get
you
both
want.
Hulk 181 and a giant size X-Men. Come on,
Yeah,
man.
if you're dropping 11,600 on this book, you better have every comic
Yeah.
known to mankind.
Let's-
You better.
Let's see
I
what
agree,
happens
man.
when Marvel announces Miles Morales live action film, and let's see what happens on eBay and see if there's but obviously they're smart about it, right? They're not because if you flood the market, they're going to
The
be
value
cheaper,
dumps,
right?
yeah.
So let's see if the same person or different, leaks one here, one there. But whoever is doing this, they know what they're doing. I think so. They would create different eBay accounts, and they'll probably drop as soon as the Miles news drops. You're going to see one or two immediately hit eBay.
One or two.
Right. And then, in a couple of weeks, you're going to see some more and some more. And so and we'll see if that's the game that's being played. And
Yeah,
if
but that
we
person
ever,
is smart,
yeah.
spread them out. Put a little bit on Shortbox. Put a little bit on Whatnot. Put a little bit on Instagram. Put a little bit, spread them out so you're not getting the same visibility. It'll be interesting to see what that.
We'll see, man. We'll see if we ever find out who bought those 2 cases, because that to me is the first little crumb in the trail that you need to find this. Somebody bought 2 cases of these, right?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden the prices, they were like, wait. So when you talked to them, the price was already up, right?
Yeah, it was Baltimore Comic Con. I think what was that, like 2020 or 2019?
I have no
like
concept of time anymore.
Yeah, and
right
before
ready
the pandemic. It was right when this book first started to make community news. It was starting to get reported on by some other YouTube channels. It was first starting to get talked about.
Getting
I'm
pushed
done
real,
with
it
this
was
book,
getting
man. What's
pushed
next
real
on the
hard
list?
on a certain app.
I'm not
too.
saying if people are in cahoots with it, but hey,
It's not even a book. Let's stop talking about it. I hate
Yeah,
it.
it's one of
move
it's
on.
one of those things. Like, it was making noise at the convention enough so that, like, when we asked previews about it, trying to get content information, their response wasn't to give us answers. They were like, actually, we're curious about why are people buying this thing. So it was, and that is telling too. Like, it was so foreign to previews to even think that these would be collectible.
yeah.
It didn't even make sense to them.
Crazy. All right, let's move on, man. Enough of this
Moving
beating a dead
on.
horse. All right. So Marvel Previews issue number 5 rears its head back on the list again. All right. So here's another. This is a really cool book as well that I have never seen. So get ready for an offer.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
These He-Man exclusive variants are absolute ghosts, and this is Masters of the Universe number 6, the He-Man.org, limited to 500, exclusive by MV Creations in 2004. And whether you loved or hated Kevin Smith's Masters of the Universe Revelations, it didn't stop Masters of the Universe fans from paying top dollar for hard-to-find variants like this He-Man.org variant, which is from a site dedicated to hardcore Masters of the Universe fans who have been all in on the brand since the 80s. So when the site created their own limited edition variants, then you knew they were going straight into the hands of fans who had no intention of selling their copy. This week, saw 2 copies made their way to eBay, selling a CGC 9.6 for $500 and a high-grade raw near mint to near mint plus, besting that and selling for $1K this week.
My God, for a raw comic, but that cover looks dope.
Near mint plus.
White cover.
I know. That's scary. That's a scary raw buy right there.
Limited to 500.
And the best point that Matt made, this is why I love these types of books, not just the exclusives, but I'm long on record. I love G.I. Joe and Ninja Turtles and Transformers and Masters Universe. These books end up in their forever homes more than you'll see Marvel and DC books. Marvel and DC books will get flipped. Everybody inherently knows that there's profit in them. These books tend to get overlooked upon release. They go into collectors, personal collections, and it ends up over time just drying up the available number of books on the market. And then when they do hit the market, people are willing to pay top dollar because you just don't know when the next one's going to pop up again.
It's true. That is the truth.
I agree with that because things like Star Wars, He-Man's Master Universe, Transformers, G.I. Joe, they are their collecting community is not about buying and flipping. They want to show off their collection. You know what I mean? So be it comic books or toys or whatever. I mean, especially Star Wars people, when they collect, especially like rare toys and things. I mean, if you watch any of those shows on Netflix that talk about collectors and the Star Wars, and you go into the room and it's like tons of stuff, right?
I mean, that includes He-Man. That also includes G.I. Joe. So, I mean, you've got a lot of those guys that collect that stuff.
So I mean, and it's nostalgia too. Like we were just talking yesterday when we were talking to Shortbox that now that most of us are at a certain age where we have our lives moving forward, professional, we have careers and we have disposable income, and we see these things and we're like, you know what, I want to get back into this, and then. I don't know if they're getting sticker shock when they see this, or because maybe they're going back into it and go, oh, well, maybe that's just the going price for it. Okay, let me buy it. But $9.99 for a raw comic almost seems like it was a buy it now on eBay. You know what I mean? For that price. Yeah.
Agreed.
So,
yeah.
But I also agree with Euler's Workshop statement. I'm a big proponent of, like I said in the opening, like looking at other markets and paying attention to what's going on. The grading slowdown is very real. We saw that in sports cards. Neither of the major sports card graders are taking mass submissions, and we're starting to see that affect comic book grading now, where certainly CGC's wait time is long. CBCS is going to get there now that they're increasingly taking market share. They're going to also end up having some of the same problems. And with all of that, I think you're starting to see a raw market become stronger, as raw is liquid. You can buy and sell it quickly and without it being held up waiting for grade. So I do think we're going to see the as long as the book is graded well by the person selling the book, and you can really like be a credible seller who attests for that the book is high grade. I think we're going to see some more shocking raw prices kind of in the coming months.
Yeah, and also talking on the flip side about how PSA is so backed up, and now CDC getting into the grading of trading cards, right?
Yep.
So I mean, when you see that the market there is a need and you step in, that's capitalism at its best. So we shall see. Because CDC has a name. I mean, some people may hate it, maybe some people may like it, but they're their name. So most of the time, trading card people see PSA to go, that's my choice. But then, just like we've seen trading card people come into the comic industry, they say CGC is the one I should use. So, maybe they'll be like, maybe a CGC trading card, won't be so well. And, and also CGC can get a lot of talent to sign cards. So I don't see any issue. Probably won't have any issue getting, sports athletes to sign these things and have signings, and then for their graded trading
more signings.
cards. So,
come on.
yeah. So we'll see. I've holded off my books being sent into CGC. I'm waiting for them to finish doing their hiring and training to get more people in there for grading. So hopefully it'll get better. But it's just a huge influx of people that are coming in from video games and trading cards that know that I have more value if I grade things. Right. And so they immediately get something and they grade it. So, it's you can blame CDC, and I kind of blame them, but I don't think they were ready to see this amount of stuff coming through during the pandemic when, people from other hobbies were coming in and getting stuff graded. You know what I mean?
All the grading companies were affected by that. I think,
especially
the market leaders, PSA and CGC, they both just got affected by the fact that they were essentially became mandatory parts of the transaction process. As we bring in new buyers into the community, they want to buy books that they don't have to argue about condition. They don't have to worry about it coming in worse than they expected. So
is Halo even still in business?
Yeah, I haven't heard that.
What is Halo?
Halo is a grading company.
Yeah, Fly by Night. It felt like I haven't seen them in a while.
I think they were based out in the UK
or Australia. Or
yeah, somewhere they were not in the U.S. Well, and then PGX is sitting over there. Hey guys, we have quick turnaround times over here, and nobody is still doing it.
No.
Oh boy. All right. So Masters of the Universe #6, the He-Man.org, limited to 500 from 2004, dropped for a cool grand. Raw comic from August, bought on just a few days ago. All right. What do we got up next?
Up next, we have Miss Marvel #1.
Oh, here you go. People got a chance get this one, huh?
Sarah Pichelli, 1/25 variant, and Kamala Khan is on fire right now. And as we get closer and closer to her Disney Plus series, and most likely a trailer, hopefully sometime soon, this Pichelli 1/25 sat at a low $20 to $25 price range for years until recently, when raw prices jumped to the current fair market value of $82. However, the highlight for this book is this week, and it was a new high sale of $500 for a 9.8. And this shoves the last 9.8 sale from back in June of $160 well out of the way.
Damn.
See,
Sarah
you guys had
Pacelli
a good
again.
chance to get this on. I mean, this was, but nobody paid attention to it because, it was like, it's just, we keep on talking about this every week that, 1 in 25 racial variance from 5, 6, 7 years ago. Typically, they didn't really hold their value. If anything, they dropped because normally if it's a hot variant, the first 6 months, boom, it's going crazy. But we're finding that people are going back and looking for, especially higher racial variants like 1 in 25, 1 in 50, 1 in 100, 1 in 200. And I remember 2 or 3 years ago, you could wait a few months, 6, 7 months, and you get a 1 in 50 or 1 in 100. You know what I mean? Unless it was like that spawn one per store or something like that. But very interesting, man. Miss Marvel #1, the Sarah Pacelli 1 in 25 variant, just from 2015, 9.8 for a cool $500. It'll be very interesting to see how the market reacts when we actually get the first trailer for Miss Marvel. I think, the way things are going and the trends are going, if you follow the tea leaves, drink every time I say follow the tea leaves, then these will probably pop as well. All right, next up is a book that just pops up on here. Just keeps on popping up on here. And I don't know where people are finding these things. What is it?
It is Nintendo Comics System Sneak Preview.
Ooh.
Originally published in 1990 from Valiant, and we've mentioned this book multiple times previously. However, it continues to garner a lot of attention when copies come up for sale. With only 34 universal copies on the CGC census and a mere 4 copies in 9.8, those sales are far and few between. Well, we have an all-new high sale this week. Some devoted Nintendo fan grabbed My Comic Shop CGC 9.8 copy listed on eBay for $8,000.
Damn.
More than double the previous high for this book set back in April. Moreover, we also had a raw 7.0 range copy go for just under $540. If the general scarcity wasn't enough, that solid yellow background will show every bend, fingerprint, smudge. So tough for high-grade copies. If you're looking for any copy of this book that helped usher in the short-lived era of Valiant Nintendo Comics, you better open up that wallet.
Open it up.
I mean, this, I just don't get it. I understand it's, it's the first appearance of Mario, right? But there's no.
Dude, someone got drunk by it now.
There's no
right. Come on,
but that's the wild thing. It's not the first appearance of Mario.
Oh, it's not.
No, the first appearance of Mario is in Blip #1 from 1983, which was actually released by.
That's
Marvel.
right. We had that on the list for the Blip.
Yes,
the
Blip.
The dude playing a video game on the cover. Yeah.
Right, and that book is not only the first appearance of Mario Brothers, but it's also the first appearance of Donkey Kong, which is another property I could easily see getting like a movie or something like that.
Oh, for sure.
Donkey Kong is, if they can do Rampage, they can do Donkey Kong. So, and Blip sells raw for like $80-$90 and slabbed for a couple $100. I certainly understand the nostalgia value of this book and the rarity. But I think if you're investing this kind of money in Mario for the Mario purposes, you should be buying that Blip #1. Like that should be an absolute buy. And I think it's super underrated.
Yeah, but I think it's also the same people are buying that Super Mario Brothers game that came out before, like even the console came out, like and they want to put them both together side by side because they're not buying. They are definitely not buying this because a movie is coming out. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're just buying it. But this is another. More evidence that of people from other hobbies coming in. I mean, because normal comic book people probably wouldn't get this, but I think people who are dropping major coin on graded video games are like, you know what? I need to add this to it.
The person that owns this has like the original box in his basement.
Oh, for sure.
Like the game
person
deck,
owns this got drunk.
Yeah.
Well, but I will also
sure.
say, just because I'm an eternal optimist about IP. I write for a website, 1:37 p.m., which is owned by Gary Vaynerchuk, who's more known as Gary V. he has a deal with Nintendo to license out their IP for merchandise and things like that. He just struck a deal with between like Nintendo and Champion to do like a line of like Champion Mario Brothers apparel. I think all of that is going to help continue to push what I think is one of the most underrated pieces of IP, because anybody from the 80s like grew up with Mario and Donkey Kong and things like this. And the fact that we haven't had successful movies or animated shows based on these characters, to me, is a tragedy and really a dropped ball.
Yeah. I have to disagree with Dwayne. The person who bought this is not living in their basement.
No.
The person who bought this got coin.
Yeah,
You
the
got
person
mad
that bought
coin.
this has a basement that's bigger than my house.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So, you know, to us, $8,000, that's a ton of money, but you got to
Yeah.
think of some of these people, they're millionaires, or they're worth $300,000-$400,000 or whatever. And they're just like, you know what? I'm going to buy it.
That's going to
Boom.
look cool.
Yeah,
Right.
boom. It's like that. You know what I mean? To us, it's a lot of money, but you know, one man's trash, another man's treasure. One man's treasure is another man's trash. You know what I mean? So everything is relative as
Are
far
you
as
telling us to
far
go
as
garbage pick?
yeah.
Are you telling us to go garbage pick?
Yeah. All right. So Nintendo Comics sneak preview, acclaimed Valiant comic from 1990. Can you imagine how many of these were sitting on the shelf in 1990 and nobody even
God.
really cared about them? Oh boy.
He couldn't give
All
these
right,
away. Every comic shop was like,
All right, next up on
"Please."
his list is a book that we actually had on here before, but not
Yeah.
this particular one, which is pretty cool because I remember it wasn't this one, but it was another one, and it just goes to know there's another niche market
And it was
for these
one
two.
that we would have never known what it was. Oh yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, this is
Oof.
the second Sailor Moon variant that I have directly presented, and we're talking about Sailor Moon number 11, the silver foil variant from Tokyo Pop in 1999. And we've covered the rare Sailor Moon number 1 San Diego Comic-Con pink variant before, featuring the first appearance of Sailor Moon in a US comic. However, this rare reverse variant of the issue, Pink Star on Silver, is very similar to that first one and was only available at San Diego Comic Con to Club Tokyo Pop members. It's even harder to come by than the first issue, as copies very rarely surface. However, one came to market last week and sold for a big raw price of $500. This does not surprise me, I'll tell you guys. There is an Eastern movement coming strong. Anime and manga is really dominating the comic space. I think we're going to continue to see these types of properties push numbers.
Yeah, like I said, if I just looking at the cover, I would have no idea what it is. But then again, I'm
Yeah.
50 years old and I don't know what Sailor Moon is. I just know there's tons of Sailor Moon cosplay when you go to shows or anime shows. If you go to an anime convention, there is some. If you think comic book cosplay is cool, it is not even
Anime
anything
cosplay is
compared
way
to
cooler.
anime They go all out.
It's
you know
cool.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, like, if people aren't familiar with Tokyo Pop, that may be another element of this that I think gets lost in this. Tokyo Pop is a very large and successful company and brand. They're synonymous with the anime and manga market. They've released exclusive product every year at San Diego Comic-Con, obviously dating back to the 90s. But in the more modern years, you've seen them for like a lot of like My Hero Academia exclusive pops or Dragon Ball Z exclusive pops. That's been kind of the mode you've seen in recent years, but they are a major brand as well. They're another brand that has a following, an international following. And I think all of that plays into the value of this comic book.
Yeah, it's just crazy, man. Just crazy. All the subgenres of collectors. If they ever made furry comics, it's you think they would go crazy for it. So there you go. Sailor Moon number 11, the silver foil variant. It's so rare that the only picture we could pull up also it has dings in it.
Yeah, this is the guy who was
You know
taking
it's
a
rare
picture
when,
to
you know,
complain.
when
He's
I'm-
like,
you
dude,
know-
it showed up damaged. Look.
Yeah, exactly. So
You
there you
probably
go.
couldn't even touch this book without putting a fingerprint on
Oh
it.
yeah, definitely gloves. Definitely.
And you can
gloves,
see the
man.
person's hands holding his phone in the background, right above the star.
Exactly. Damn near impossible to take a picture of this this comic, but I know how, and I will do a tutorial
there you
video
go.
on how to take pictures of comic books that have glare and slabs. I keep on promising that. I will do it.
You
I swear to
do,
God,
and
I'll
they
do it.
never deliver. But yeah, come on, man.
Just look at my slabs on Instagram, and you'll see that for the most part, there's no glare in them. All right, Sailor Moon number 11, silver foil variant, Tokyo Pop, January 1999. Only 500, guys. This one is very interesting because I didn't know this thing existed. What do we got next?
Well, coming out of 1985, this is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 3, New York Comic Con, white layered error variant. And who here likes errors?
Oh God!
And if you like
Come on.
errors, this is one of the earliest ones. The short version of the story is that Eastman and Laird wanted to bring 500 copies of the second issue with them to New York Comic Con in 1985 and rush those copies through in an order to get them on time. Due to this rush, Eastman and Laird grabbed the 500 copies they needed, but decided that the blue ink looked too splotchy and should be corrected for the rest of the run, which was 50,000 issues total. One of the key determining factors in spotting this error is in the Laird sign above the VW bus. If it has white lettering versus the blue lettering, though many of this error also had a darker blue, then it is the error print. The standard reprinted cover has a light blue tint to the sign. This week, this book hit a new high sale of $4,300 for a CGC 9.6. Not even a 9.8.
This is one of those things where if you didn't even know it was an error, you would just think, hey, unless you were comparing it side by side. So,
How would
just
you know?
pay it.
So what we're showing pictured is the error, and it's the sign above the van there, layered. So because those letters are white, that's what you're looking for. I just want to know if that's what we're talking about. Underneath the letter T of Turtles, where it says layered on that sign, because those letters are white, this is the error.
Let's see. One of the key determining factors.
If it was white lettering versus blue, then it's the error print.
There you go. So there.
The standard reprinted cover has a light blue tint to the sign.
Yeah. So there you go. And knowing is half the battle.
Right. There you go.
All right. So for those who have offers, this is your best chance to get on the board. This is your best chance. Rarely will we see this on the Shaker Show. I do believe it showed up on the CovrPrice Top 10 once, but get ready to get rid of your offers.
Right. Come on. Everybody's got this book. Web of Spider-Man issue number 100 newsstand. Originally published in 1993 from Marvel Comics. Okay, so this isn't a huge book. It's a book you've seen a million times. And if you're old enough to remember reading this when it came out, then you probably shared our disappointment when the sweet new Spidey armor was destroyed by the end of the issue. Still, this is one of those books that's incredibly nostalgic. And with today's love affair for newsstand copies, you get a notable sale like this week's $300 for a 9.8. The direct edition is not too shabby either at $115. However, that $300 sale is a pretty decent price for a book that most sellers and buyers wouldn't look twice at. However, that doesn't mean you shouldn't. Nostalgia sells.
Is this?
I got it.
Chromed out. Is that Spider-Man Chrome?
Yeah, it's hard stock cover too, I do believe. If I'm remembering correctly, it's like a hard stock cover, so it is relatively easy to get in a 9.8. When I say relatively, because you never know what kids were doing with comics in 1993. And let's look at the print runs from 1993.
93, yeah, it would have been
around there, yeah. So
it's a solid ratio.
Yeah. It would have been below 15% of the total market would have been in newsstands. So,
so this is in full disclosure. This is the book that I found at the National that I grabbed.
Yeah,
I grabbed a 9.8 candidate for $1.
$1?
That's a great profit, my friend.
Raw on a table. One of the things a lot of people know I work for a platform now, and now in doing that, I see a lot of sales. And one thing I've noticed, I started to notice the trend of these 90s gimmick books, specifically Spider-Man stuff. starting to see increased attention from a younger audience base who is valuing these as they were books that they wanted as a kid. Most of these Chrome books got hot for a time when they first came out. They might have been $10 books, but if you're a kid, that might have priced it out for you. So now as an adult, you want these books and you want them in the highest grade possible and you want the rarest version possible. So we're seeing some of these like these early nostalgic Chrome type Spider-Man 90s books are having their day. Not Spider-Man and X-Men. I would say these gimmick covers are something not to ignore anymore. And I totally get it. Like sharks like us who, on this panel who have been doing this for years, I would have ignored this book.
Oh,
9 out of the last
so
10
many
years.
times.
Right. But now I just won't ignore it anymore. I'm grabbing them. I'm picking them up.
Yeah, for cheap.
Yeah.
But now that it's on this show, it may not be cheap anymore. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I remember reading this and I was like, oh my God, you know, and this was in 1993. So anytime you see stuff on this on the cover, new Spider-Man armor, new first appearance, I'm going to retire, I'm going to send my kids to college on this, you know what I mean? You know, and the print runs are pretty high on these as well.
Yep.
Anniversary issue, I love anniversary issues. I do have one of these somewhere in my collection, I do believe, but I'd have to see if it was a newsstand or not, because, you know, back in the day, I was collecting, you know, all these on at my LCSs. You know, in 1993, comic shops were everywhere. You could see 2 comic shops in the same strip mall. That's how crazy it was in 1993. Because you know why? Because in the city I lived in Milpitas, California, up in the Bay Area, I had a strip mall that had a comic shop on one end. And all the way on the other end, there was one, and then only one survived through, you know, the shutdown or the crash, and then the other one eventually went away. So for those who live in Milpitas, it was by Gulfland, right off. You guys don't know where it is. Anyway, for those in the Bay Area. So Web of Spider-Man issue number 100, the newsstand edition from 1993, 9.8 sold for $300.
Pretty sweet.
The next one, I think people have a good chance of getting this one too, because
Right?
you know, it was pretty popular. So you got another opportunity to get on the board here, boys and girls.
Yeah, this was definitely one that was out there. And for those who were skeptical about money being in the new 52, here's one for you. We got Wonder Woman number 28, the J.G. Jones Steampunk 1 in 25 incentive variant from 2014. Excuse me. February 2014's 125 Steampunk theme month was a pretty popular right out the gate. If you recall, Harley and Batgirl covers were the main draw of the month. However, this Wonder Woman variant slowly rolled past them and now remains the most valuable cover out of the series of variants. It's now pretty difficult to find, and copies really have dried up. In fact, so dry out there that this week a 9.2 set a new all-time record of 699, not 800 as eBay shows. Wonder Woman variants tend to retain their value, so this should be a solid seller for a while. And I wonder, guys, how often do you think a record is broken for a book in such a low grade?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, no,
9.2 for
awesome.
$700.
Yeah, I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
I think this is one of
That
the
cover's dope. She
only
looks
one.
good,
I mean, it's
man.
always 9.8. I mean, rarely it's a 9.6.
I mean, you got to think the person who got this graded, you know, was like, probably been disappointed for a modern book.
Oh,
to
for
come-
sure they
to
were
come back at
disappointed.
9.2.
Came back
right?
9.2.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
killing
When they
me.
got that book back, they probably for sure
And they sold it because they were pissed, and now
Yeah.
the person that bought it just sold it again.
Oh
for
yeah, I can
$699.
easily see that have been sold sub $100 when they first
Easily.
got it back from graded.
Well, we
That
could look at the
is-
9.2s for this book, and we could kind of maybe put our detective hats on and
Yeah,
see when it's
so
sold.
that's the list, boys and girls. But don't go away because we're gonna look and see what's shaking today.
What's
thanks
shaking
for-
today?
Yeah, what is shaking today? Shout out to all 170 of you watching the live chat. Really appreciate it. Hit that thumbs
Yeah.
up and subscribe and all that good stuff. And we're gonna see what is shaking here. Let me share my screen. I got this down to a science now. Not really, but you know. Okay, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look how fast I'm going. Look how fast I'm going. Look
Oh,
at
you're fast.
that.
You're so fast. You're super fast. Look at that.
Yeah. All right. So when you log into coverprice.com, you get to see all your stuff right there. Here's the top 10 that we just did on Tuesday. Go peep that out. Here are the movers. Basically, movers are the most units sold for a individual comic, and you could tell, kind of mirrors what was on our top 10, except for a couple of different ones. Look at that Venom, that Superboy. And if you click view all, you'll see all 50 of the movers for the day. These are, but this is the Shakers list. And if you just sign up for, I think, a free trial, you only get to see 6. I think if you sign for $2.99, you get to see 10. But if you sign up for $6.99 a month, you get to see all 50 of them that shake. Oh, look at that. I got 2 of these. Wow, look at that.
Wow.
I like seeing 3DC books right on the
Look
top
at that
of the list.
3DC, big money too.
Yeah, 3 DC, 3 Marvel. Nice. Look at that. That Incredible Hulk is a raw dog sold for $181. Wow. Ghost Rider.
Oh, that House of Secrets was a raw too.
Yeah.
And that Batman was a
Whoa.
raw.
Dude,
My goodness.
I'm telling you, the raw game is
raw
real.
game is strong.
I got one of these with getting pressed right now.
Yeah, you know what
House of Secrets.
Especially if you're I hate to use the term flipper, but if you like to buy something and resell your comic, flipper, whatever, I don't think of it as a derogatory term like some people do, but if you like to spec and flip on comics, you got to do it raw, because if you get it graded, that book may cool down by the time you get it back. So, sometimes it's just better off selling it raw.
6 months, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Well, that's also why I know certainly I am an advocate of CBCS, but that's also why sometimes when people look at the 20% price difference that can occur between CBCS and CGC, sometimes it makes sense to take the 20% hit to get the grading back in your hand months faster and to be able to move a liquid product. Liquidity in collectibles is key.
Wow. Let's take a look at this. This book is going crazy.
That's a tough book.
I think I have this variant. I was just talking about the hip hop variant too. So this is Moon Girl Devil Dinosaur #1, the variant edition. This is the 1 in 25, and this just sold for a. Going back. Well, August 11th sold for $2,070. This is the one I was talking about, the hip hop variant. I remember on the Cover Price Top 10, we also had the
blue. The second
the second print variant was on there. The highest known value was in May for $2,500. Wow. So and the interesting thing is, I think in the past, properties made for children, collectors didn't really care, right? That but forget that. It's 2020, 2021. It doesn't matter. So like, the Moon Girl Devil Dinosaur animated series is definitely for kids. It's not even on Disney Plus. I do believe it's on the Disney proper channel.
So I think that's what makes me nervous still, though, is I'm curious. I'm not necessarily nervous, but curious. Every bit of my gut is telling me that show won't be viewed as much as other
because of the platform, because it's on the more expensive.
It's on Disney. It's on Disney Channel, even though Disney Channel is like maybe more accessible than Disney Plus.
Okay.
Adults aren't watching Disney Channel.
You're right.
So that's the key, is for that property to be successful, it's going to have to really resonate with children.
Yeah,
and children are then talking about it and getting adults' attention.
Yeah, and the side argument would be, well, what about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? What about all these other things? Well, the thing about those is decades of toys and decades of cartoons. And, the movies were even made for kids, but the collectors who grew up now have a disposable income, where Moon Girl Devil Dinosaur is relatively new. So, the people who are fans of Moon Girl Devil Dinosaur haven't gotten to that point of where they're like, oh, it's nostalgia for me. Whereas, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or even Ghostbusters or any of the other things, those are, coming out in the 80s.
And I would still argue with Ninja Turtles, like, while I love Ninja Turtles and I feel such a deep connection to Ninja Turtles, I don't watch the current incarnation of the cartoon, because it's just that's not meant for us. That's not the version of the Ninja Turtles we want to see. That's definitely directed towards our children. Yeah. So I think that's now to the comment that Cover Lover Comics made. I think the episodes after the season will definitely end up on Disney Plus. So there's no doubt they'll be accessible to everybody. It's just a matter of whether or not it will be viewed as to the same effect as, say, What If. What If is an animated series.
What If was amazing.
But it was also like appointment viewing where everybody felt like they needed to watch it because it's a part of the MCU.
Yeah.
The detachment.
Truth.
And it was definitely not for kids. There was some people getting
Oh
killed.
no,
in it. Yeah.
no, it wasn't.
Right.
For
And
kids.
that's just what concerns me with Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur is, will people see it as essential MCU viewing? And
Yeah.
I'm not, and I could be totally wrong. It could be the one that breaks the mold.
Yeah, we shall see. Keep an eye on it when it does premiere and see if prices, and if the market just doesn't even care and just continues to go up. So,
No, speaking of the market, TiVo, this Hulk 180, you made the comment the other day. It doesn't matter how many videos you make. The market says it's 181, right?
yeah, I mean,
Well-
even Marvel came out and said that this is Wolverine's first appearance. But we're talking about decades and decades of
Well,
people
I mean,
in the
yeah,
market.
it is his first appearance, right? He's in it.
Yeah,
He's in the book.
but
So compare 180 to
this
181
cover.
at that, even
But
at that
yeah,
grade,
right.
at
Of course.
7.5.
This is the book. This is the book.
yeah,
I mean, they even made a statue out of that. I mean,
I'm
that's
team 180 all the
our
way.
friend.
though.
Our friend Mike, Big To Do, has a statue. It's freaking
Yeah.
awesome.
I mean, this statue is like, Wolverine is in it, but look at the cover. It's just Wendigo and Hulk and, some chick talking about her brother's dying. So, first cameo appearance of Wolverine. Thank you, CovrPrice, for setting it right. And the reason Marvel came out and said it was Wolverine's first appearance, I do believe, was the last Hickman run when they were showing all the characters in it, and they showed one Hulk 180 as Wolverine's first appearance. Now, no matter whom or whatever keeps you trying to get you to buy these because they're sitting on them, it's whatever the market dictates. And the market dictates that, somebody paid $40,000 for a 9.8.
Okay, let's see what they paid for a 181 though.
Yeah.
what's
9.8.
Well, let's go
180?
down because I want to see like recent sales of 9.8s. Well, that's the only one. So
That's pretty recent.
June 2021, April 2020, they were going up, they were going up, slowly but surely going up.
Well, I want to compare this last sale was a 7.5, right? Is that what this one was a 7.5?
Yes.
Yeah.
So okay, so what's a 7.5 and 181 going for? If it's $3,500, yeah, it's got to be $5,000 probably.
It's 7.5.
Oh, 7,700.
Yes.
And to Uncanny Swag's point,
8,000.
Oh no, that's last sale. But the cover prices, new little, see their little average price is really, really good. I don't know what the algorithm is. It used to be really, really bad, but now it's really, really good. It's even better than
you're
Go
paying
Collect's number.
$7,000 more.
Yeah, so the litmus test will be when Hulk gets part into the MCU, right? So I mean, obviously it's great for people who couldn't afford Hulk 180 back in, and they were like, hey, let me get the cameo. But now we're talking about you're almost spending the same amount of money for, and it's kind of crazy.
I get it's crazy, but I think a lot of it is the new market, right? As you bring in new buyers, they're kind of like we say like the market decides, and it truly does, and you're totally right. But
We
we
see
have
the
to
shift?
remember, but what we have to remember is as the market expands, the market is ever changing. So what the market decides today may not be what it decides 10 years ago. Prime example of that is history. How Uncanny Swag points out that on 90s Marvel cards, they listed all the cameos as first appearances. It's not just, if you go look at, I've been paying attention to a lot of 90s Marvel cards lately, and it's not just Hulk 180. It's also Avengers 195 with Taskmaster, ASM 299 with Venom. Certainly Todd McFarlane said unequivocally that ASM 299 is Venom's first appearance, and that he doesn't even understand where the 300 talk came from.
I don't know about you guys. When I was growing up, X-Men 94 was the book. It wasn't Giant Size X-Men 1. It was like 94 was the book when I was growing up. And I don't know when it turned, but now GSX is totally the book. And 94 is like the stepchild.
Well, here's the thing is it's a lot to do with the cover. If you look at
it's 100% the cover.
ASM 299 as opposed to ASM 300, what has the better cover?
Right.
A Hulk 181 to one Hulk 180, what has the better cover?
Oh, yeah, 100%. It was the model. Marvel teased a character in the last panel, And then in the next issue, they put that character front and center on the cover. It's New Mutants 86 and New Mutants 87.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all over the place.
And the
ASM
argument,
360.
yeah, and the argument will continue until Marvel and DC actually comes out and says what's the difference between a cameo and a first appearance. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like to say they're integral part of the story. They appear in 5-6 different pages. Because, I've seen people say the argument, hey, he was on the last panel or he was on the last page, but was he a part of the story, because a lot of cameos, they just pop up to go, I am here, I'm over, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like,
it's also important to note that those are not terms that the industry came up with. Those are terms that we as a collector base put.
Exactly.
These are all rules that we come up with. So that's really where the problem comes from. This is not it's not like in sports cards where there's a very clear defined rule of what's a rookie card.
What's a rookie card? Yeah.
But
back to the sports cards thing? There was a time also when they were like their college card, right?
Oh yeah. That's what happened. There was this big debate, and then the publisher, the actual producer of cards and Major League Baseball stepped in and said, we need to set defined rules.
Yes, Marvel DC set the defined rules. Okay,
there you go.
And then we'll all follow them, right? Yeah, I mean, let's make it very clear. And I even like how the sports cards, they started literally putting a rookie card logo on rookie cards so that there was no question.
Yep, perfect.
So, I mean, those are even things that could be done in comics, similar to the way we saw in the later print where I think it was like Invincible Iron Man 7, where they had the first appearance of Riri Williams kind of graphic on the cover.
Yeah.
What the hell's Robin's eyes?
Oh, dang.
Yeah, he has no eyes.
No eyes.
Oh. All right. So next on the list, Batman number 23 from 1944.
No
a
chance.
1.5. So for $800.
chance.
That sounds pretty
Anybody
cheap
in
to
the
me.
anybody in the chat have that? Anybody in the panel got one of those?
Ryan, you have this?
No, I don't have this one.
But you know what? To me, 1.5 for a Batman book from 1944, regardless of it being a thing, sounds pretty good.
There's a lot of opportunity on books like that, like vintage books. When you look at the price of the keys, because the market's become so key oriented, a lot of these classic run books I think are undervalued. A lot old Batman, old Action Comics. I think
You can find a lot of good books.
Speak of the devil, nice segue.
Prime series. Poor Superman has been overlooked on the market a little bit in the last few years.
Look at another yellow cover for Superman. We always talk about how many yellow covers in the golden age. Superman number 30 from 1944. First appearance of Mxyzptlk, a Ross comic.
Is that how you say that?
Mxyzptlk. Yeah.
And that's another character that easily could be a movie villain.
Yeah. $550 seems cheap to me for a
cheap compared to what you're seeing on the market today.
Yeah. Hell, even oh my God, a 9.2. Wow, that was way back in 2013. So never mind. But
yeah, my guess is that's 10 times that at this point. But
yeah. So actually, let's look. Let's see. Wow, there are just not many that come up for sale. Straight up. I mean, look at that. And you look at those numbers. One here, one here, one here. 4 7.5s. I mean, geez, not much.
But there's not an unreasonable price on that list.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just some of this is just supply and demand. They don't come in the market. Here you go, Ryan. Some Justice League for you.
Yeah, baby.
Justice League number 15. Look at this gnarly cover.
Are we going to get Suicide Squad versus
It's
Justice
like one
League?
of those dudes from the
I don't think
Easter
so.
Island.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I know there was rumors about Justice League versus. I meant what version of Justice League? First of all, I meant
Right.
There's such a split in fandom on the DC side where there are two factions of Justice League, the Snyder Cut, and whatever else is going to come forward. And then now there's two factions for Suicide Squad. Because David Ayers is saying, hey man, I have a cut that nobody's seen yet, and then people are I enjoyed the hell out of the Suicide Squad movie. I don't know why the DC fans are knocking it, saying, "Oh, I'm making fun of it that it didn't make money and whatnot." But come on, it was a good film. I don't know if he's going to continue with the franchise or anything, but it's I don't know what happens with DC, and it's just I think Snyder built this up saying, hey, I have this, and it's all so and so's fault that this didn't happen, and then so it caused fans to pick sides. And you know, it's bad for fandom, I do believe. You know, especially
Go to
if
that
you're
Spider-Man
I think that's a great
Goblin
point.
book. Down and to the right.
Oh yeah, look at this one. Let's go.
It's hot and it's raw and it's a key.
Yeah, it is the third appearance of the Green Goblin. Look at that. Oh, that's a nice cover they found too. Man, that's a clean copy.
Classic.
Amazing Spider-Man number 23 from 1975 or 1965. My bad. Raw Comics sold for $420. Wow, look at that. 9.6 sold for 12 grand back in 2019. I'm telling you, these early Spider-Man issues are you know, they're like the rogues galleries of all the, you know, Batman's rogues galleries.
Mhm.
It's the Spider-Man's rogues galleries that are worth more than,
Like
you
the
know,
first-
Spider-Man's allies. You know what I mean?
And then
Shit, what? First 15
classic
issues?
runs, these classic ASM, X-Men, you're going to start seeing all of those vintage issues go up in value and dry up as just time goes on. They're just becoming classic and vintage.
We can't do a cover price shaker show without pre-code horror. Look at
Pre-code?
that.
The Hunchback.
The Hunt of Fear, number 4. Wow, number 4. Wow. Comics, this is a key issue. Comics that have key character appearances, a low print run, or have been proven to always be in demand. $400 for a raw copy, man. I really missed the boat. I should have got into, why is this book on here? Why?
Interesting.
Is there a first appearance? Oh, Mojo. My
Mojo.
bad. Jeez, it just goes. I just don't care about Mojo, to be honest with you.
$400 for a book that, again, I would have passed up in any bin any day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah, first appearance of Mojo, $403 for a 9.8, man. So people are thinking something is coming. Strange Tales, one of my favorite series. This is one Strange Tales issue 115. Look at that little Sandman. $349 for a raw copy. Highest known value 9.6 in 2017, sold for 16 grand. That's nice. Hey, we haven't heard about this book in a while. Silk is definitely coming. And you know, the book hasn't really moved as much. I mean, if you look at that, this is only $371. Obviously, the one to get is the variant, you know, the Umberto Ramos variant. But you know, why not get this one? You know,
Get them both. Shit.
And I would keep an eye on even.
Ooh, look at that Moon Knight
giant
hip-hop
printed.
cover.
Keep an eye on that number 1 issue from that same run because that's Cindy Moon's first appearance, and I imagine before she becomes Silk on screen, she'll be Cindy Moon.
Yeah, I was talking about how this Moon Knight has a hip hop variant too. Look at that cover.
Nope.
And you know what I need to do? I need to add this to my collection because I just found it. So there you go. You get to see how you add it. It's a raw dog and it's near mint. So I just click on add and it shows up in my collection. Now it says I own one. $350 for a 9.8. And let me tell you, this is not easy to get in a 9.8. These black covers are just, oh my God, they're just crazy. You know, and especially the way they ship them. I don't know if I told you guys this about Karis Comics. So we went behind the scenes and see how they get all their comics shipped, and they're all like curved in a box. Yep. They just get stacked up.
Stacked in a box, yeah.
And another reason why I support Karis Comics, guess what they have in the back of their shop? They press all their books before they send them to you. So you're getting a pressed modern book straight out of the gate. So when, you know, so it's not curved or anything. So there you go. When you buy from Karis Comics, they press the books where they send them out to you.
I just bought 4 of those Ultimate Fallout 4s. You know, they're reprinting the Ultimate Fallout 4, and KRS had a little deal on there. Remember, you got to put in your code, that LOTLB, and you get the discount.
Use the discount.
Free money.
You get the discount on those mystery boxes too. So if you want, go over to Karis Comics, get the mystery boxes, use discount code LOTLB. You get 15% off. So that's like $100. Easy math, man. It's only $85. So there you go.
Boom.
There you go. This is cool. The Flintstones. Number 48 from Dell. First appearance of the Flintstones in comics.
Wow.
Look at that.
That you see those pricing. That's criminal to me. Then that's
so hold on. Slide back up. So this is where you would be off, because if I was digging through a box and I saw that, I wouldn't know. That's the first. It says it's issue 48. You'd see a number 48.
But Dell Giant is the name of.
You'd go, okay, the Flintstones.
Know,
oh, that's issue 48. Little did you know that.
So it's Dell Giant, and it's issue 48 of the Flintstones. And this is obviously a nostalgia buy. Any of those first appearances, like Mickey Mouse or Disney comics, absolutely crazy. If you can find first appearance like Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck or any of those characters, Hanna-Barbera is, right up there too. So, I wonder what the next issue was. Now I'm curious.
Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
There you go. Is that the first appearance of Huey, Dewey, and Louie?
No, because they were on the one before. Also.
There you go. That is so cool, man. So there you go. I mean, it just goes, the market expands to everywhere. Fantastic 450 doesn't feature any appearance. Basically, it's people who missed out on. Oh yeah, we talked about this before.
Toxic Avenger had a little cameo in Suicide Squad.
Did it? There, you know what? There was an article where they said there's cameos you may have missed. And
because the creator Troma was in the film. In the background of a scene, Toxic Avenger was playing on TV, and there's a Toxic Avenger film in the works.
That's right,
a new reboot. So that was one of those movies back in like the late '80s, early '90s, was on TV all the time.
Yeah, exactly. So right now, $316 for a 9. Is this even the first appearance of Toxic Avenger? I don't think so. Is it?
I don't think so. I think it's the first solo series.
Yeah, this is when Marvel got the. Look at that, but it tells you it's the first Toxic collector's item issue. So there you go. Yeah. I used to love that, man, when they used to tell you it's a collector's item issue. Love this. Oh, all right. Let's go with some Golden Age war books. Look at that. Ooh. This is Battle Action number 3 from 1952.
You gotta love that cover. That's not G.I. Joe where all the bullets are missing.
No, exactly. No, some dude is getting stabbed. And,
it's direct action right on the cover.
Yeah. What's interesting about and I hate to talk about that documentary again, but you should need to watch that documentary they were like saying you couldn't show anything sexual in nature, but guns and knives and stabbing, you could show all day long.
No sex, but you can rip someone's head off.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, there was a comment earlier.
Look at that Ghost Rider. That's cool.
There was a comment earlier in the chat about comics going the way of WWE, and it's true. Like Marvel and DC comics are certainly they don't present to children anymore. The idea that comics are for kids is almost silly now because of the level of violence in mature storylines that go in. That's why all ages comics are very important to have something that kind of speaks to that younger audience.
Well, I mean, WWE and WCW is the way you say it if you're a wrestling fan. In the 90s was it was talk
king.
It was huge.
Monday nights in the 90s.
The Monday Night Wars.
I mean, forget about it.
Sexually suggestive, everything.
And the pay-per-views, some of those girls would get naked.
I have one of my 3 brothers saw his first pair of breasts on a WWE pay-per-view from a 90-year-old woman.
Oh my God.
So it's one of those things like
he's scarred for life.
Who shockingly, when I went to college at the University of South Carolina, was my next door neighbor, and I told her that story. Mae Young, rest in peace, Mae Young. Was my next door neighbor when I was in college, and she showed her chest on.
Yes, I remember. I think I saw that one.
I'm old enough to remember when the WWF, that's what it was called back then, was like on Saturday mornings or Sunday mornings, right? And there was toys. There was
Saturday mornings.
There was toys. They were definitely catering to kids. And then at one point there was a WWF. They had a WWF show that was on Saturday nights. I think like late night, like after Saturday Night Live, and on NBC, and you could watch that. And then when they went to Monday, it would just kind of went different, but it was really weird because it was fake violence, but they would still fight each other, but it was catered to kids. It was just kind of different. I always loved that meme of that one guy sitting in the bleachers. It's real to me, man. And he's crying.
Yeah.
My parents went to WrestleMania 3 at the Pontiac Silverdome.
Oh my goodness.
That when Hulk slammed Andre the Giant.
Hey, do they still have their ticket stubs?
I don't know. I'll have to ask. I doubt it.
WrestleMania ticket stubs have become major secondary market money.
Nobody keeps those though, right?
That's the truth. WrestleMania 1 had like 100,000 people at it, and there's only 7 tickets in the PSA census.
Wow.
What really changed wrestling was ECW. when they came to the scene with ECW and their small shows, and they were just doing crazy stuff, barbed wire matches and all that
Dude,
stuff. That's
I mean, there were
WWE
episodes on Friday night where the Sandman would take the entire episode to get to the ring.
Yeah, drinking beers in the audience.
There's a cool book, Ghost Rider. Yeah,
That's a great cover.
That's a crazy number, though.
This is from Magazine Enterprises,
Issue
but this
10,
definitely looks
A1,
like
number
the Marvel Ghost Rider, the cowboy one, right? That looks like him in the background.
Yeah.
$310 for a 3.0. Wow. So I wonder, where is this from? 1952. Look at that. That is cool. So you got Frankenstein, you have Ghost Rider, and then you have a Batman cameo right there. There he is.
Oh
you,
my
see the bat in the
gosh.
you see the bat in the background.
Uh-huh.
All right. We're almost done, boys and girls. Sorry, you're like, you guys are taking
And
way
it
too
kind of
long
looks
for
like
this
Captain Boomerang's getting drowned.
show. Rest in peace. Oh, sorry, my bad if you haven't seen the movie yet. But it's called Suicide Squad. Duh.
That's one thing I appreciate.
Ryan?
Snap.
Ryan, didn't you just show this today?
I did, because we got to hurry up and get this over so I can go watch episode 3 of Titans tonight, you guys.
Well, if you'd like to know, there was a story about that. There's going to be a Red Hood live action series for HBO Max. First appearance of Jason Todd as the Red Hood.
Did you see the change in the comics with Red Hood where he's not using guns going forward?
What?
No.
Yeah, in I forgot what issue. It just happened in the past week. Red Hood kind of has a revelation that he wants to try Batman's methodology of not.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be temporary. I'm sure there'll be hardship that'll come with it. I'm sure it'll lead to him being increasingly angry at Batman.
This book is still undervalued.
I was just going to say that this book
His
is
book is
grossly
still
undervalued,
Yeah,
especially with the
so many
Obi-Wan Kenobi show coming up.
So many of these Star Wars Volume 1 first appearances, 41, 42, are just undervalued.
68.
Yeah.
I've kept my 2. I've sold both my Star Wars number 1s, but I've kept number 2 because I'm waiting for the Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yep.
Because just think about Ahsoka Tano shows up in The Mandalorian, drops the name Thrawn, and these books have gone crazy. Well, it's time to get Obi-Wan Kenobi some love here. This is his first appearance in the Marvel comics, or just comics, period, to be honest with you. $225 for a 9.0. That's grossly undervalued, huh? $4,000 for a 9.8 though. For March 2021, that sounds right. But a 9.0 to me, it should be higher, man. And I'm still under belief. It's one of those things like I don't believe it until I see a trailer. So when the first trailer that pops up for Obi-Wan Kenobi, expect Star Wars number 2.
And
but
I wanted to mention that Death in the Family book definitely was.
What do you want to show us?
I wanted to show you, if anyone's ever seen it, what was the big deal with this book, that Daredevil 115 he was talking about?
There you go.
There it is.
Well, there it is. First appearance of Wolverine.
Yeah.
So,
but I would imagine it was
$11,000.
done throughout all the books that month, though, right?
It wasn't all of the books. It was there was also a Thor book that had it. I think those might have been the only two, Daredevil and Thor. But
JB, let me take a sip while I'm again scoring my win.
Cheers.
But they're undervalued. I think they're undervalued, but I don't think it should never come anywhere close to approaching the actual first appearances price.
Like you mean Marvel Preview 95?
Which is just there is. Look, there's something going on with those prices.
There's something funky going on there.
Yeah,
somebody's sitting.
Afoot there?
I really think somebody's sitting on 2 cases of them and waiting.
Where's Mighty Mel V, man? There's some fuckery afoot going on.
You know what? I wonder, whoever's online now, if they have an opportunity in the next couple of minutes to go into the CGC census to see how many are on there, because that will give you a good indicator. If there's a ton on there, then there's probably not somebody sitting on them, because that would kind of ruin the surprise. Like, to me, it's like they're going to wait till something official, and then they're going to get them graded. If they're sitting on 2 cases of these books, they're not going to go get them all graded, because somebody's going to go into census and realize, wait a second, why are there so many on here already? So they don't want to leave a trail. So I'm just all I'm going to say. All right, we took in enough.
That out slow.
Yeah, it'd be interesting, man. If one day this comes to fruition and this one dude who's manipulating the market or whatever, but it's
they'll make a
difficult.
movie about it like they did about the short sales.
Yeah, and before we go, in the chat, Stephen Schuss, that was a great point. The funniest thing about Marvel Previews 95 is people jumped all over that book and no one looked and realized Miles Morales is depicted in Marvel Previews 94.
Boom.
So even if your argument is, well, it's the first depiction of Miles, it's not even that. So what is even the value of that?
Well, you know what their counterpoint will be? Well, he's on the cover too.
Yes, the first cover appearance.
Again, just like the 180, 181.
So really,
on the cover.
Marvel Previews 95 is really the first cover appearance of Miles Morales.
Yeah, if you want to count it as a cover appearance, even there, I could argue that because it's not a comic, but sure, it's the first cover appearance of Miles Morales. But certainly, there's no book in the world where we pay 3 times the first appearance price for the first cover appearance.
In the world of the pandemic, things have been crazy. That's why this show is so interesting, because we've kind of been front row to see our friends at CovrPrice show us what's been going on, and it sometimes it just amazes us. Like, wow, look at this! These prices are going up, and that's the thing about CovrPrice. This is not our opinions, guys. So when people leave comments said you guys are stupid for buying, we are reporting sales data. We are telling you what the sales data that has been compiled off of CovrPrice. We're not shilling or doing whatever. Some people also have lists, and I don't know where they're pulling the sales data from, but it seems very similar to the sales data that's on CovrPrice. I'm just saying. So, and they don't mention them as their source of getting the sales data.
That's called plagiarism.
But at least tell them where you're getting your sources from. You know what I mean? There's a lot of YouTubers out there that actually do CovrPrice shows and say, hey, this is what was on the CovrPrice show. But there's other people that have their top 10 and they're just like, they just show sales data. But I don't know of any other sites that have sales aggregators. I don't know if Go Collect has a sales aggregator or not. I've spoken to the guys at CovrPrice, and they have partnerships with 4 different places that they allow them to data mine them. And I can't, obviously due to NDAs, I can't say who they are, but it's kind of obvious, eBay, but there's a couple of other auction sites on there as well. So, all right. Hey, sorry, we ran a little late. So really it's only been an hour, more than that, but I hope you guys had a fun time. Thanks for hanging out with us. AKA Mr. Bolo. Jack, any last words, or should I call you Jake?
Yes, the infamous Jake appearance is back. Thank you everybody in the chat. Yeah, the rock with us. I had a lot of fun tonight. So always happy to come on and talk about the market. So shout out to the chat who's very lively and energetic tonight. And I love these debates about these comic community issues. So I was excited when I saw Marvel Previews on here.
As soon as I saw Marvel Previews in 95, I say there's going to be controversy on here.
It's going to be a good episode. You knew it was a good episode right when you saw that on the list.
Yeah, even when it was on our top 10 lists back in the day, we still were skeptical on it. Like, why? And then there were some whispers in the community about somebody sitting on a couple of cases, this, that, and the other. But
there was an app that was pushing the shit out of it. So that's all I want to say.
Yeah, that is true. Speaking of pushing shit out, Darkside Jedi, any last words?
Let's get out of here so I can go watch episode 3 of Titans.
Oh, I need to start that. All right, JB, any last words?
Now, shout out to the chat. You guys are awesome. You make the show, and anyone watching on the rewind, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Peace out, everybody.
Yep, we're getting close. We need like 100 more subs to get to 7,000, so we get to a cool 7.
Make second accounts, everybody, and just sub up again. Yeah.
So basically, we're going to give away a $7,000 comic, according to what we're
going to give away 7,000 comics.
That's worth
$1 comic.
There you go. You're gonna get you're gonna get $7,000 worth of comics when we hit 7,000 subs. So hey, really appreciate you guys every week for hanging out with us. I know you got better things to do, or do you? Maybe we are your highlight of your week. Man, I don't know, man, but I hope not, but I hope so too, because we enjoy your comments as much as everything else, and you guys talking amongst each other. So I may see you guys on Sunday for Letters of the Long Box. If not, we will see you guys on Tuesday for the CovrPrice Top 10. Until next time, boys and girls, be safe and keep digging in them long boxes. Peace out. That one's way too long.
Now let's do this. Rewind, select, and come again. Pull up that from the top to the very last. Jump.
lives bitter in hard bondage. In this you shall know that the Lord is faithful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, do it! We're here! We're back! Word up!
Can't do what y'all. You can't get fresher than this.
In the great hall of the Justice League, there are assembled the world's 5 greatest heroes. Their mission, to fight injustice, to right that which is wrong, and to serve all mankind.
When it comes, I won't even notice.
Oh, how so?
I'll be too busy looking good.
Can't understand.